at KnowledgeHut, in collaboration with Scaled Agile, we are very excited to bring you to this session. With this, let me hand it over to Oskar and Arun to take it from here.
Thank you so much, Christabel. So it's always a pleasure to be here with you. So as an SPCT and NI native trainer, this is an honor to be able to host this class, of course, together with Arun, who is AI methodologist and SPC at Scaled Agile. So we have prepared something quite different to you, as Christabel has already mentioned, because we know that many of you go to various AI webinars right now, but we don't want you to leave excited. We definitely don't want you to leave hyped. But today we are going to discuss a very important topic: how to lead at the edge, and basically how leaders redesign their decisions, flows, and operating models in an AI native world. And what is basically the future of the leadership? Do you think that it's going to change? Quoting Arun, absolutely. So, of course, it will. And we are going to walk you through the challenges, but also the opportunities that we see currently on the market, and we are going to you're going to also leave with prompts and with tools that are going to allow you to put all of those concepts into action. And yes, you have seen our post on LinkedIn, so this is definitely not an AI tool session. This is a leadership pressure test. Yeah, so I'll be very open. If you are just here for the tools, definitely you're going to get some prompts that you will be able to use, but we would like to take this topic far beyond adoption of AI as a technology. Yeah, it is a leadership pressure test that we are going to take today. So we know that in 2026, some of the leaders will look visionary, and at the same time, others will look outdated. And you might ask yourself a question, why? Because AI is not changing the leadership, it's actually exposing the leadership, which very few people are talking about. So in 2026, the leaders won't look outdated because they ignored AI, but because they simply kept deciding and leading in the same way. So the real gap will show up in decision speed, of course, decision quality, and who still controls the system and who does not. And basically, the system is going to expose if it controls the leaders, not the other way around. And here you have some of you who have, for example, been and visited a SAFE Summit, like Arun and I, in Denver last year. You have seen this report from Mick Kirsten, and as you can see, almost all the organizational energy currently in the world is burnt on decision and coordination, not creating real value. So as you can see, only 8% of the efforts in all the pipelines from the organizations around the world are focused on the value creation, and at the same time 48% of the value is of the time is being spent on long and outdated decision and founding practices, and 44% of the time is being consumed by long coordination and release without full automation. So AI doesn't reduce this load, yeah, it actually accelerates it because nowadays the decisions, they multiply, they do not disappear. And if we see that a leadership is already a bottleneck, yeah, because who is making those decisions and founding? Of course, it's the leaders. In this case, AI turns this bottleneck into a breaking point. And Arun, we have discussed this many times also during our trainings, that the data is actually quite brutal, and around 90% of all AI initiatives around the world, they generate no return of investment. So do you agree that it's because the theory of constraints and Eliyahu Goldratt teaches us you basically optimizing a component does not optimize the system, and most of those those 90% of initiatives are being focused only on that part value creation and are not considering the decision and founding and coordination and releases parts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the advantage of where we sit today is that, we have 3 years of data that are coming in from, organizations and enterprises that have been attempting to get value from AI, right? Especially generative AI since the advent of ChatGPT in 2022, right? So, they've been trying, there's a strong pressure from the boards, from customers, from employees even, right? The workforce saying, hey, look, we want to leverage these tools. We want to use this incredible, technological revolution to deliver value better, faster, higher quality to our customers. And ultimately, after, 3 years of really trying, unfortunately, the studies and the data are showing that, upwards of 80 to 90% of initiatives are failing to result in return on investment, right? They're not producing value, right? So there's a lot of initiative, a lot of investment happening in AI, but ultimately it's not returning. And I think, it's going to unfortunately fall on the leadership's kind of decision making, right? Where are we putting that focus? Where are we putting our investment capital? Where are we applying those AI initiatives? That has to be aligned and understood and, put into a strategic roadmap. That's not happening today, right? So that's leading to a lot of unrealized value with a lot of initial investment, right? So that's a major problem. Absolutely.
Thank you, Aaron. That was very powerful. And as we all know, if AI is not generating value, do you think that it comes for free? No, it does not. Then in this case, it generates costs at the same time. So, as Arun mentioned, here is basically the hard truth that we already see that the leadership tries to get value out of AI, but for many reasons, which we are going to talk about in just a second, it simply is not able to do this at this moment. And if the leadership still depends on escalations and approvals, which we know that are part of this classical leading process, AI will definitely surface it as a structural weakness. And I already see in many organizations that I work with that the foundations are already cracking. And today's leaders, they demand heroics from workers. Yeah. And I see it also in many organizations that people work for 10, 12 hours. But on the other hand, heroic leadership doesn't scale. And at the same time, AI removes it and sees those hiding places. And let's say it open. Yeah, okay. I wanted to be very precise here. We are not saying that AI is going to replace the leaders. It's not, but it's going to replace the leadership shortcuts the leaders have been used to using for the last 20 or more years. And without those shortcuts, many leaders still managing it's 10 or 20 years ago, they would simply not survive. And this is the reason why they will not survive the upcoming wave that is coming, and it's already there on the horizon.
Yeah, I think Oscar, you have a really great point in that previous slide that, most of the apprehension that people feel from AI is, hey, is this going to replace me? Is it going to
Yeah.
replace my functions? Something we're not necessarily considering is it going to expose bad practice, right? Because AI is an accelerator, right? It makes things, kind of surface and it, accelerates and exposes our practices at a much rapid rate than previously, right? So, one, if it's not necessarily going to replace you, is it going to kind of, surface the way we've been doing things that aren't necessarily going to survive in the age of AI? It's another concern that we kind of have to keep at the forefront, not necessarily just replacement. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. That was very powerful, and this is that's why this is the hard truth, and we are lucky enough because many of us have seen this previous revolution in our lives. So the internet revolution, and do you think I remember those times? Aaron remember those times as well. Do you think that there were many leaders who were saying, you know what, we don't need to have any kind of digital tools or website. Our clients will always will always, value the eye-to-eye contact and coming to our bank and have a coffee with our employees. Of course. Do you think that those leaders are still leading those organizations right now? Absolutely not. Yeah. So this is the same thing that happens because we know that AI is basically going to change everything, and it's definitely going to change the operating models of our organizations. And by the way, of course, there is no better person who can tell us why it's going to happen than you, Arun.
So yeah, so here we have what we've postulated with our AI native program at Scaled Agile is that there's a new paradigm for leadership, right? To understand the way that the world works, right? Just quickly in the chat, folks, give me a number one if you've heard of this term called VUCA, right? Volatile, uncertain, chaotic, and ambiguous, right? Basically it was a kind of a paradigm developed by the U.S. Department of Defense to understand the world, right? A world that is volatile and uncertain, ambiguous, etc. In the age of AI, right, we need a new mental kind of model, a new mental paradigm to really grasp what's happening, right? VUCA is almost 40 years old. It was adopted by a lot of business and management folks. We're postulating that we are now in what we call an edge world, right? These particular four forces are being, applied and realized at a much greater rate than we've ever had before because of AI and specifically generative AI, right? So, this kind of gives us a grounding and understanding. And edge really is describing the four forces of exponential, right? Planning assumptions are collapsing, right, with exponential change, right? AI native companies, as an example, with OpenAI, they're reaching 100 million user base in a matter of weeks, right? I think they had 10 weeks where they reached 100 million. Previously, old, let's say, now Web 2.0 companies like Netflix, they took 10 years to get to 100 million users. The new AI native companies like Manus, as an example, they reached 100 million ARR, annual recurring revenue, faster than anybody else has, right? And then the jump from 100 to 200 million ARR is accelerating, right? So we're getting this exponential pressure. AI is disrupting, right? They're disrupting every single industry. Decision speed beats size now, right? The things are moving so quickly, and every industry across the board is getting disrupted. And these next two forces are actually quite unique to generative AI. First is generative, which is that new artifacts are being created, right? So traditional AI, machine learning, deep learning was more about determining patterns and forecasting, whereas now we're actually creating new types of assets, whether it's text, images, videos, etc. And this is going to have a massive effect across a number of industries. How do we deal with this as leadership when you're not constrained with being limited to just pattern recognition, and there's new possibilities and emergent, which is I think one of the biggest forces that organizations are having a bit of a hard time grasping, which is that there's behaviors in these systems that aren't necessarily programmed into it, right? So you have behaviors that you're not necessarily expecting, and there's emergent type of outputs that are occurring in these systems. And really, because of these edge forces and the intensity in which organizations are dealing with it, that's what's leading ultimately to that kind of high failure rate of realizing return on investment, right? These are new paradigms, new ways of thinking that are putting extra pressure on leadership to understand how do we now function with these edge forces that are being applied at a greater rate than we've ever had to deal with, right? And it is a big challenge, and that's why we're here to discuss this today. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Arun. That was very powerful, and exactly, I especially liked the term that the speed of change makes basically the behaviors of the leaders that once delivered results, it makes them basically now quietly create risks and delay in the systems. We don't see this yet, but it's going to be risky if you are going to operate in the same way how you did, and we are going to show it to you in the next couple of slides as well. So thank you for that. And by the way, of course, Adam mentioned the new initiative, the AI native, and of course, I've taken the trainings. They're amazing. So we know that the AI native organizations, they basically make the cost of the ownership very open, yeah, and the outcomes are not hidden behind the processes and patterns. And in this case, the flow will become the new leadership KPI, and this is going to be the best way how you're going to measure the success, because we know that nowadays in the age of constant gratification, you need to deliver straight away, and every second from now when I have the need to the time when it has been satisfied creates a tremendous dissatisfaction in our customers. So once again, regarding the AI native organization, Arun, could you please tell us and explain what is the main difference between our organization who is using AI and a truly AI native organization?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, really, it's the approach of kind of understanding and a mindset around what AI actually is, right? Either we're taking one of two approaches necessarily. We're either looking at AI as a set of tools and features, and we're bolting it onto the existing way that the organization functions. That's not AI native, right? What we really mean when we say AI native is that we view AI as a thinking and cognitive partner in the way that we think and work, and think about the work that we do in terms of delivering value ultimately to our customers, right? So, the first approach being, bolted on is what we called, that's not AI native. We want to bake it into the organizational DNA, right? Hence the DNA structure there. Are we taking an AI first, AI native approach? Are our decisions kind of understanding, how those edge forces are going to be affecting the way that we deliver value? Who ultimately owns the outcome? AI is driven by data, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Who is, stewarding and understanding and curating that data? And as we, is written there, guardrails over control. There's a lot of ethical and regulatory issues that are concerning. Are we putting that into our ways of thinking and strategic initiatives, right? So there is a difference in terms of how most organizations are looking at AI as a tool set or a feature set to make available to their folks or to add into their products, versus other organizations that are making it part of the way that they actually operate, right? An AI native organization has an AI first operating model.
Amazing. Thank you, Arun. And this makes a huge difference. And of course, as we have already discussed, the AI is going to end the excuse-driven leadership era, a term that I have come up with when preparing for this webinar. We'll see if it's going to stick. And why? Because as we have already discussed a couple of times during this webinar, it makes late decisions so much visible, and it also makes the late decisions lethal. Why? Because other organizations, the ones that are AI native, they are not making late decisions. Yeah, they are already moving so much faster than everybody else on the market. And the escalation also based leadership, it also collapses when machines move faster than the hierarchies, which we also see that is happening. And the third reason is that, of course, because decisions without explicit trade-offs, they simply do not scale. And also the AI exposes those costs of not making a decision, which is far worse than making a bad decision, but learning on it in the very first place. Yeah. And yeah, AI basically removes the hiding place for the leaders who relied on delays, escalations, and excuses, and are simply not able to do this anymore. That's why AI is going to be lethal for the leaders. Yeah, we have already discussed this and put this into the in LinkedIn's discussions. But the leaders who thought and dreamed that AI is going to replace the developers, they are now on the hook, and we are going to show you in a second why. And yeah, Arun already mentioned about the topic of bolted in, AI bolted on versus baked in, and this is why most of the organizations fail, and we see it all the time. They fail. How they embed AI into the leadership decisions and not treating basically treating AI as a tool, not as a thinking partner, as Arun mentioned. So they basically think that even though they have a broken process, they are now going to put AI on top of this broken process, and AI magically is going to fix it. No, it's first of all not going to fix it. It's actually going to accelerate it, yeah, because the bolted on AI accelerates bad decisions. Yeah, you are going to simply make more decisions, but those decisions are going to be bad and without judgment. Also, as Arun mentioned, yeah, we need to use it reasonably. So when I now hear that there are organizations who made Copilot available to everybody, and I ask them, but have you made some trainings how the people should use it? No, we haven't. Do you know how many people use it, how they use it? No, we don't. Okay, good luck with that. That's definitely not responsible at all. And on the other hand, baked in forces clarity. Yeah, so we don't want to make more decisions. Yeah, but we want to actually make fewer decisions, but the ones that are going to really matter, and we want to accelerate the learning. So basically, to summarize that, because I think that this is so important to say it out loud, that bolted on AI basically lets leaders hide behind tools, and baked in AI removes this cover, yeah, and it makes the whole process so much visible to everybody.
Yeah, so just to go off what you were saying with and I don't want to pick on Microsoft or any of the vendors, but there was an organization I spoke to. I was talking to their CIO. They have about 15,000 employees, and they provided Copilot to everybody. They gave everybody kind of training on how to use Copilot, and it took a few months, but then the CIO got access to the dashboards on usage, and he was shocked that there was less than 10% usage of employees on actually leveraging those tools, right? So one is okay, providing the capability to leverage those tools, but if we looked at those tools as tools and not part of our improving our workflows, improving the way that we actually deliver value, the employees didn't see any real reason to leverage those capabilities, right? So one is typically, again, if we're an organization that takes that bolt-on approach, we can check the checkbox off. Hey, we made, tools available to our employees, all 15,000 of them. That sounds good as a vanity metric, but ultimately, what's the usage? What are we getting out of it? Are we getting ROI on that investment? Unfortunately, the answer was no when they had visibility into what was actually happening underneath, right? So it's something for leadership to really consider. What is that approach we're taking? Are we considering certain steps we're taking as wins when they're not really wins? Are we getting underneath to the real data and understanding what's happening with AI?
Definitely. Thank you, Arun, for this this great example. And maybe if I could ask you, please walk us through the last slide that is going to summarize everything. We know that AI very rarely fails because of technology, but it fails because, as you said, no leader owns a decision, or even they do not know how the people are using AI in those companies. And you have seen those three recurring patterns. I have seen it also in many organizations. And yeah, could you actually walk us through what sits behind each of them?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we said, the data now is panning out over the last 3 years in terms of organizations trying to get value from their AI solutions and initiatives. and studies from MIT, Rand, McKinsey are all kind of demonstrating somewhere between 80 to 95% of these initiatives are failing to realize, ultimate value or return on that, investment. And, we've taken a look at those, and ultimately it boils down to three primary anti-patterns, right? First is something we call the value gap, where organizations are, as we, talked about the Copilot example, they're investing a lot into capabilities and tooling, but it's not producing ultimate value, right? So, that's first. Secondly, what we call the POC graveyard, or proof of concept graveyard, where there's a lot of initiatives being, let's say funded, or demos being produced, or proofs of concepts that are, being approved, right, by management and leadership, but ultimately they're not getting into a production environment. And then even if they're getting to production, the entire kind of change management process of leveraging those initiatives to either give our workforce better AI capabilities, or to produce value for our customers, that's not being realized, right? So these initiatives are dying at the proof of concept stage. In fact, it's literally called a POC graveyard in the literature. And then there's the hype trap, right, which is most organizations and a lot of leadership, because of the pressures from the boards, from the customers, etc., are chasing the latest, next, amazing thing, right? So you may have heard towards the end of 2025, and definitely you're going to hear a lot more of this in 2026, where everybody has to have agents, everybody has to have agentic workflows. Agents are going to replace people, right? There's this massive hype around, agents, MCP, A2A, agentic, every acronym you could think of, right? Whereas ultimately, our workforce isn't even prompting correctly, right? We're missing these fundamental potential massive value realization, and we're chasing these hype things because that's what's the latest and greatest thing in the news, right? So really, we need folks in the organization, and it's going to start at the leadership level, to serve as those kind of AI native change agents within the organization, who can see these particular blind spots, who can see these anti-patterns developing, align the right stakeholders, prioritize the correct initiatives, and then be able to navigate, this edge world, where these are the three primary kind of factors that are leading to those failed initiatives right now.
Exactly, and those patterns keep repeating in all the organizations, all over and over again. So it's going to take a lot of time before we are going to actually change it. Okay, so you have heard the diagnosis, and now we are going to ask the question that you are probably waiting for as well. Okay, so what can we do differently? And we have prepared a live demo for you, so that we don't want you to only get hyped and get clarity, but also see how this could be used in practice. So in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you how I redesign a real leadership decision, not in theory, but of course in practice. And I'll show you how basically AI is going to help us to bring clarity to a process which in most of the organizations basically is missing right now. So let's take a look. So let's start with a familiar situation. That I see a lot of my students from my previous classes on the chat. So that I work mostly with big financial institutions. So let's start with a situation that is very familiar for me, and of course I believe for you as well. So we are going to see how portfolio decisions are typically prepared in a regulated environments. And I'm going to walk you step by step through the materials that the leaders usually receive before a decision is made. And please make sure that we are not judging anybody. Yeah, this is the process is only here to make visible where pressure, ambiguity, and basically avoidance enter the process and the system itself. So here's the starting position. So we are looking at a very common executive situation over here. We have 5 strategic initiatives, but capacity and founding, we have only capacity and founding for 3. Sounds familiar? I guess so. And each initiative is well sponsored, of course, well justified, and all of them are urgent. Yeah, all of them are priority one. And basically, the decision cannot be deferred. It needs to be made this quarter. Okay, and now let's meet those contenting initiatives. So first we have regulatory compliance and supervisory readiness program. We have core banking platform modernization. We have customer experience and digital journey improvement. We have enterprise data risk and reporting foundation and operational efficiency and cost transformation. All of them are legitimate and all of them are well sponsored and all of them are strategically justified. Each one comes with a strong business case and, of course, a sense of urgency. So the constraint in this here is not quality or intent. It's simply, as we know, capacity. We cannot simply deliver all of them. We would like to, but we cannot. Okay, so what is basically the next step here is where the data arrives, yeah, and this is the moment where we actually collected all the data, built all the dashboards, and the real question basically that we have on our minds is after collecting all this data, what actually changes, yeah? So everybody looks at those data, yeah, as you can see, medium to high, everything is manageable, everything is visible, which means that basically nothing clearly falls on the table, yeah? And this is the kind of situation I and most of you face every quarter, every portfolio cycle, and every steering meeting. We have more data, but it didn't help us to make the decision. It actually has did something opposite. Yeah, it made the decision even more blurry because now we see that everything is priority one, everything is high risk, etc., etc. So what basically happens then in the room, if you have been into those strategic portfolio meetings like I do, you basically know, yeah? So here you are seeing the standard flow of a classical portfolio decision meeting. Yeah, we present, we clarify, we discuss risk, but what do? Also, we avoid making explicit choices between those initiatives. And the result of this meeting is very similar. Alignment goes up, but this decision clarity stays unresolved, and we leave every meeting with the same basically statement. We need more clarity. We need more alignment. We need more data, and the time goes, and basically the time is clicking. Yeah. And at this point, as you can see, the decision feels very, very shattered, yeah? And the responsibility is already very blurred. Who is responsible for this, yeah? Who can make actually the decision? So everybody contributes, everybody aligns, more documents are prepared, more meetings and more discussions, but no one actually decides, yeah? And this is where basically the accountability quietly disappears, and we don't even know who is accountable for making this decision in the very first place. So as you can see, the question is not how do we get better data, because we can get a ton of data. We have it right now. The question is how we can redesign the decision itself. And when we have already this situation in place, I'm going to now show to you how we would basically how we are going to basically run it. Maybe I'm going to do this one more thing. How we are going to basically run it in our tool. So we are of course going to use ChatGPT. That is going to help us to actually make this process so much simpler. But before then, let me just make one thing. Okay, I need to put it here. 1 second, and we're going to go back in a second. Okay, swap it over here. Here we have the prompt. Okay, perfect. Now I have it. Now I have it set up, so we can go back. So here, basically, I have, of course, my ChatGPT open, and what I'm going to do is first I'm going to put here on the portfolio initiative packed everything that I'm showing you are going to get. So basically, over
Oskar,
here,
I don't know if you're sharing your screen.
I'm not sure. Okay, thank you. A classical. Rookie mistake. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Arun. So going back over here, as you can see, I have put in to ChatGPT the portfolio initiative pack that I have created. You are going to get everything. So here we have those 5 initiatives, and we have, of course, some executive summary why this initiative is important, why this one is important over that one, etc., etc. So we are going to use it as basically an input to our tool that we're going to use. Okay, so if I already have this portfolio pack over there, then I'm going to open a system prompt, put in there an opening system prompt. So basically, I'm going to tell ChatGPT to act as an executive decision mirror, supporting a senior portfolio committee in a large regulated bank. You have some context, etc., etc. You will be able to see and read this this prompt by yourself and use it. So I'm just going to put it over there. And he's reading the documents, okay, and he acknowledged his role. So how a typical organization would work? So first of all, what do we need to do? We need more clarity. So let's prepare an executive summary. Yeah, this is the first thing that I'm aware every portfolio would do. So we have basically asked the AI as a tool only to basically prepare the executive summary. And let's see what's happening. Okay, we have the executive summary. And we have executive summary, as you can see, for each of those initiatives. We have even the value that it basically delivers. So as you can see, this is the output that normally the leaders would get when using ChatGPT as a tool. And as you can see, clarity is achieved, but the decision avoidance is still intact. Yeah, because, okay, we got this data. Did it move us further? No, it made the situation even more blurry because now we see that every initiative has value and every initiative has some risks. So it does expose trade-offs, but does not make and help us to improve the decision. Okay, then, so, I've been on Arun's training, so I'm going to ask it and take it a step further. So I'm going to do a priority ranking. Maybe this is going to help. So dear ChatGPT, please help us to priority rank those initiatives. Let's see what happens. Okay, this has the highest priority. This has the next priority. This is the next one. Okay, but this ranking, as you can see, does not resolve the decisions because founding free initiative still requires accepting explicit named risk for those 2 excluded ones. So once again, ranking complete, but trade-offs still unresolved. So have we, pushed the process further? No, we have even created more confusion, and we still avoiding to choose what's going to, be left. Okay, so now I have enough of this. I'm going to put some pressure on my portfolio team because they are already working for a couple of weeks and still only excusing that they need more alignment. So. Now I'm going to see what kind of recommendations my dear ChatGPT would give us. Okay, so for each initiative, I see that if what is the loss if it's not going to be founded, what risk can we accept, and what is the weakest assumption. Okay, it gets us a little bit closer. So the consequences, as you can see, are exposed, but once again, the ownership is still pending. Who is going to take those risks? Yeah, who is basically going to accept that if we are not going to, for example, found this initiative over the second ones. But this already put us a little bit closer, as you can see, when we have put actually pressure onto the leadership, because now the consequences, we can see them directly, and we cannot hide anymore behind the analysis that we had in the previous results. Okay, and now I'm going to be, a little bit. I would like to see basically if I'm for example, the CEO of my company, what are those guys and girls really doing there in my portfolio? Are they playing some politics? So let's take a look at those initiatives and let's expose where politics strengths are versus strategic fragility, and let's see if we have a lot of politics that is playing around over there. Oh yeah, as you can see, most politically strong the initiative customer experience and digital journey improvement, and they actually the portfolio wanted to found this initiative, but as we can see, this initiative is easy to defend, easy to communicate, and widely supported because it speaks to customers' growth and reputation. It attracts sponsorship without forcing hard trade-offs because impact is diffuse and failure is slow to surface. So as you can see, this is uncomfortable for leadership because it rewards narrative strengths while quietly depending on foundations leaders may choose not to found. So the political comfort has been exposed and strategic courage is now, as you can see over here, required. And we know it straight away. And here I have prepared the last prompt for you, and this is the prompt that you can use and you should use definitely in your portfolio meeting. So this is the kind of, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, who are always looking for how we can make the decisions very, very fast, and they are not letting their people to hide behind excuses. And let's see if we would actually let AI to analyze all those things and take into the consideration the politics, remove those politics in the room, and put some pressure and to make sure that the people are accountable for the decisions, what would basically happen. And this is the final prompt that I'm going to run. Straight away, the AI tells us based on this data which initiatives we should fund this quarter and which we shouldn't. What are the accepted loss risk for regulated initiatives? Yeah, do we accept the customer experience and digital journey and operational efficiency and cost transformation? Those are the risks that we need to accept if we are not funding those initiatives. Most importantly, owners, regulatory compliance and supervisory, as you can see, supervisory readiness. So chief, for example, risk officer, 90 days accountability, and I already see what will be the early signals that this person is going to fail. As you can see, supervisory feedback on internal audit still flags missing or weak end-to-end evidence. If this is going to happen, I know that this person is failing. Chief Information Officer, in incident frequency, recovery time, or change lead time remains unchanged. If this is going to happen, this person is going to fail, etc., etc. You have the Chief Data Officer as well over there, and some decision logic. As you can see, regulatory and licenses risk cannot be deferred because the risk is simply too high. So as you can see, clear decisions, owners named, and losses and losses owned as well. And this decision, basically, I'll be very honest with you. It names the winners. It also names the losers, and it makes the cost of leadership visible, and it exposes who really protects the bank and who basically protects themselves, and who protects the politics and the decisions. And if this happens, as you can see, now we go to the leadership moment, yeah, and this is basically when the leadership can no longer hide behind the processes and the data. And at this point, if I'm, a leader and I see all of this, I have only three moves. I can either override the data, delay the decision, or basically accept the trade-offs and move, which, as you might expect, will be the best move. So as you have seen, AI didn't remove responsibility. Yeah, it simply concentrated it, and most importantly, made it unavoidable. So if the leaders think that they can still hide behind their politics and games that they are playing on portfolio level for months, nope, we can expose it in a matter of seconds right now. So the real question basically becomes, if we have those kind of tools already at our disposals, how we can deliberately design those kind of decisions models, and also how can we make sure that our organizations are learning in an AI native way. So there is always this kind of question, okay, is there a proven model to do this? Of course there is. As you can see, the AI native solution cycle that you can also apply. And please, Arun, walk us through how this leadership learning loop actually works in practice.
Yeah, first, that was an amazing demonstration and example. I think, just the promise of the webinar being potentially quite dangerous
Yeah.
and very practical is fulfilled right at this point. And really, I think, that part of the difference in terms of, getting AI fluent and then, becoming AI native is seeing how it's actually done, right, in real life, right? That process you just walked everyone through, again, depending on different folks' exposure and relative fluency with AI, they may never have seen something like that, right? The types of prompts, the thinking process, updating the leadership decision, workflow with AI baked into it, right? It's a very different way of thinking about work, right? In this case, leadership decision or prioritization on quarterly initiatives. So this is kind of the thing that we talk about when we cover particularly the AI native change agent course. And what you're showing here is one of the processes that we talk about. How do we successfully steer a solution or initiative from ideation, right, or concept to cash, as most people here might be familiar with, right? How do we take it from idea to actually getting into production and then getting into the hands of users, whether it's internal users, in our case, leadership, or to our customers, etc. And so this life cycle, it starts on the left side where we're basically the change agent in the organization will be sensing various signals in the organization, right? So as an example, if we look at the example here, hey, every quarter we have this issue, right? There's grumblings, there's people who are not happy with the process. My initiative never gets funded, even though I think it'd be the best thing for the organization, et cetera, right? So the change agent, they develop that ear, that sixth sense for understanding, hey, you know what? This would be a really great potential to leverage our, AI native your organizational DNA to help, resolve this issue, right? So they're sensing, they kind of translate that to various lenses and try to find the value proposition. And again, we start with value, right? This is one of the reasons a lot of those initiatives are failing. They're not tied to business value. In fact, that's one of our success principles that we talk about in foundations, right? We have, 7 AI native success principles. The very first thing is AI has to be tied to real value, right? So that after the sense and discover process, we create a charter, then we move into the design phase, when we talk about, elements of, the value proposal, the AI solution, data management, et cetera, and ultimately ops and how do we, what is the viability of taking this solution into a production environment and getting value, and then finally delivering it. What are the realities of deployment, scaling, usage, cost, models, right, tokens, et cetera. So what we've done is kind of, mapped out this life cycle to overcome that, particularly the POC graveyard, where initiatives are not tied to value. Ultimately, we want to get them to production, and then finally, we want to get them to actually deliver for our, employees, the workforce, and our customers. So, yeah, this is, I think, we can tie this in quite well. If you can imagine that decision-making process actually gets baked into all leadership initiatives or, let's say, prioritization mechanisms, right? We have to go through this process, make that a system and systematic approach. This would be the kind of the blueprint that we follow to ensure that it actually gets, a real AI solution is delivering for the organization.
Thank you so much, Arun. And does it is it working? It definitely does, because of course I followed this AI native solution cycle after taking the classes with Arun, and the decision making, as you can see, process that I've showed with you, it is real. I'm working already, and I applied it into one of my clients. And the reason behind this is exactly as Arun mentioned. We simply cannot make the decisions and discussions taking so long for months. This makes it unsustainable. We discovered what we can do. Of course, I have designed the tool, and now we're delivering. Now we're using it, and this is the most important thing, and it brings value. So now ask yourself a question: if one of the organizations that I'm already working with makes the decisions in their portfolio at this speed, where it puts your portfolio, who are now making the decisions, for example, 4 months in every quarter. So this is already happening, yeah, in like this kind of quote that the future is already there. It's simply not evenly distributed yet, but because you are not using it, it doesn't mean that the others aren't. We have promised you also another thing that is going to be very useful for you. And together with Arun, we've built this AI native leadership accelerator for you that is very concrete. And this is basically a tool to expose how leadership decisions really work in your organization. I'm going to show you very briefly how it looks like. You are all going to get the link to it. And over here, I have basically the AI Native Leadership Accelerator. As you can see, this is the tool that is going to ask you a series of 12 questions, and I'm going to show you what you are going to get in just a second. I'm not going to go through the whole demo because you're going to use it by yourself. So it's going to be a surprise, a great surprise. I promise you that when you are going to go through the questions. But basically, how do you use it? You start by talking to it, yeah. And this is also something that I have learned when working with Arun, yeah. So yeah, Arun. Now I'm also this weird guy that always talks to AI everywhere I go, and everybody looks at me like, yeah. But so, hey, hello, dear ChatGPT. My name is Oskar. Okay, and it's going to basically run in just a second. So hello, Oskar. As you can see, I'm the AI Native Accelerator. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and based on the series of questions, I'm going to identify where AI pressure will break your leadership decision system first. You know exactly what to do next. So basically, you're going to get a question. So for example, our most critical leadership decisions are explicitly defined, owned, and rarely revisited once made, and you can basically choose from those answers. And in this case, we are very far from them. So I would say I disagree. As you can see, so you already get some comments, and then you are going to go through the series of questions. And please answer those 12 questions, and you are going to get. And basically, what you are going to get, those things. Yeah. So first of all, AI native leadership profile, 3 to 5 priority moves tailored to your context, and also some clear recommendation. And what is very important, a 30 and 90 days improvement plan. So you are going to end up with some real tangible items what you should do. So first you are going to expose where your leadership system is going to crack first, and you by using this knowledge you will be able to do something about it straight away. And after using that tool, you will also have 2 very concrete paths forward. So first one is basically the AI native training path. So there are 2 trainings that AI native is currently providing. So Arun, could you please tell us what is basically the difference between the AI native foundations and change agent, and who should take those classes?
Sure. So I'll keep it relatively brief just for time. But AI native foundations, both these classes are formulated on a problem solution basis, right? So they solve the 2 biggest problems when it comes to value realization for organizations with AI. Firstly, with foundations, it's really about upskilling the workforce, right? That is the biggest issue we have right now. The workforce is, is not embracing AI in the way that we're thinking and working. And, with foundations, it's a 2-day, instructor-led in-person training class. It's literally for every professional, which is a very difficult course to make, something that applies to everybody. I think we kind of hit it well with this. We're getting a lot of great feedback. We've had hundreds of folks trained with AI Native and our partner network, and we've gotten some great feedback. So that's for any knowledge worker, any person. Foundations kind of level sets fluency, change the mindset, and we actually redesign people's workflow within the class to understand how to leverage AI effectively as a thinking partner in the way that we actually work on a day-to-day basis. So it's pretty exciting. Change agent is a lot of the things that Oskar talked about today. The solution life cycle. How do we overcome those three primary blind spots? Foundations is a prerequisite for change agent. We build upon what we did in foundations, go into greater AI fluency, start understanding how to steward those solutions from proof of concept to production and value realization. And it's really for folks who want to be the AI kind of change agents and evangelists within their organization, right? It's a 3 day in-person instructor-led class, and it's quite intense, but you walk out of there with a very solid game plan, toolkits, and the ability to really move the needle when it comes to organizational change.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Arun. And of course, AI native classes is the first step, and the training builds capability. But also the next steps you should take is also consulting and implementation. And this is exactly what we are already delivering here in upGrad for large enterprise clients. So as an example of this decision-making tool for portfolio, this is one of the our implementations. And in this way, our focus is to make sure that we are not just implementing tools. Like Aaron mentioned, you're definitely not paying for tools, but for redesigning decisions, flows, and governance in real operating environments. And of course, as Aaron already mentioned, we are focusing exclusively on measurable return of investment. And this is basically the only condition of success, not how many people are using Copilot, but how much value basically are you getting out of it. And I can also tell to you, very, very proud to be one of the first AI native trainers globally. Thank you, Arun, for that. And as I already have hands-on experience with some of largest organizations right now who are definitely in financial services, but beyond that as well. I would really like to invite you to join the upcoming trainings and also to partner with us on real AI native transformations, which is something that we will be aiming to promote a lot in 2026. So thank you so much for the whole part. We have one more thing to share with you, but one thing that I would like to say at the very end, that 2026 is going to be different, and it's going to be revolutionary, because this is going to be the year when AI is going to stop being seen as a tool and is going to become the environment that leadership simply operates in. And basically organizations will not fail because of the technology, but because the decisions stay slow, ownership stays blurred, and of course the trade-offs they stay unmade. So you still have time to change how your leadership system works, but at the same time you have to be aware that this window is closing very, very fast for you and for everybody else as well.
A big thank you to Arun and to you, Oskar, for taking us through this. It's a phenomenal and very powerful session that you showed us today, and especially the tool that you've put together with the various scenarios. We will also take questions from whoever has questions. I think we've been answering a couple of those already on the way.
Just a quick comment, Christabel. First, I'd
Yes,
like to thank you guys, Oskar, Christabel, the upGrad team, for setting this up and creating a great experience. For the folks that are still left on here and anybody who's listening in the recording, do yourselves a massive favor for yourself, your own professional development, your own organizational development as we move into this new age, and take the next class closest to you that Oskar is delivering. He understands this stuff incredibly well, has used it in real life, probably one of the best students in our class, and I think he's well ahead of the curve. If you guys want to actually change the way you're operating in 2026, again, professionally, just for yourselves to understand exactly where AI fits in your own development and how you can move the needle organizationally, get the next class Oscars. I don't care if it's in Berlin or Greenland, even whether it's part of the US or not, or in India. Take the class, guys. It's going to do yourselves a favor. Get your teams into his class. It's going to be a massive game changer for you in 2026.
Thank you. I'm
Thank you
humbled
for that.
with your words. And yeah, we have two classes. The first one is going to be in Europe, in Berlin. The second one will be in April in India. We are still going to decide the location. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you at the classes, and also, as Arun mentioned, in your implementations as well. Thank you for that.
Yes, so we're here for a couple of minutes if there are any questions that we can take. I think there are a few. There's one about prerequisites for AI native change agent.
Yeah, so yeah, you have to take AI Native Foundations to take the AI Native Change Agent class. So it's a prereq.
The AI native foundations, yes.
Mhm. Yeah, that's correct.
And trainer, this is a different certification. So you basically need to be a partner, organizational partner, and then if you take both of the courses, so the foundations and change agent, then you go to a master class, and then you are also able to teach those classes. So if you're interested in that, then please contact directly to AI Native and yeah. Talk how you can become a partner.
Totally.
So if you're a safe SPC, the next step is to get into the next AI Native Foundations class that Oskar is teaching. That would be your immediate next step.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. I think one thing that we can clearly take away from this is that leadership is today in 2026 is no more measured by how busy you are with AI. It's really or even how many fires you continue to put out. It's going to be measured by the quality of the decisions your system makes without you. And yeah, what Oskar and Arun have really put together and shared over here is very, very powerful. And thanks once again, Oskar and Arun. It's been an awesome session. And we look forward to a couple more in the weeks and months to come.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Christabel. A pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.